Your true life begins not at graduation, not when you land the job, not when people finally see you, not when you're loved the way you imagine you deserve. It starts the instant you stop being a mere reflection and begin moving through the world as a force. That's what Friedrich Nietzsche understood. Most people never truly live. They perform, conform, mimic, follow a plan written by others only to wake one day feeling hollow. Not from failure, but from succeeding at becoming exactly what society asked for. They obeyed the rules, stayed silent, behaved, stayed silent. Now they don't know who they are because they forgot one essential truth. Life is not yours until you choose it. And choosing it means breaking things, risking rejection, unsettling others with how far you'll go for your truth. It means becoming what Nietzsche valued most, an individual willing to stand alone. Yet that's difficult, because from birth, we're told survival is belonging, success is fitting in, happiness is being chosen by parents, teachers, lovers, society. So we adapt, shapeshift, swallow our voices, avoid confrontation, trade power for peace, selfhood for approval, reality for acceptance. Then we wonder why we're anxious, why we feel false among people, why no achievement feels real. Nietzsche would tell you, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded by others. And you've been obeying everything but yourself. Fear, expectations whispered before you could even ask, what do I want? But here's the moment where it ends, when the version that pleases, that performs, that stays small so others remain comfortable, dies. The real you emerges, disruptive, questioning, rising not for safety but because it's time. And Nietzsche's hard truth. Your life starts where comfort ends, where masks fall, where applause loses value, where your soul's voice overtakes your doubt. It doesn't happen automatically, with age, or from pain alone. Many suffer and never awaken, age without growing, speak of change but never risk becoming different. But you're not here for that too. Wouldn't still be here if you were. You're here because something inside refuses to keep pretending. Waiting, living for the validation of people who wouldn't notice if you vanished tomorrow. Nietzsche would strip the sugar away. You've wasted enough time. Reclaim yourself. Stop seeking permission. Stop dulling your edge. Stop worshipping comfort as it quietly kills your potential. Comfort lied, it told you. Quiet meant safe. Stillness meant love. Avoiding failure meant happiness. Yet here you are. Tense, drained, unfulfilled, not from risking too much, but from risking nothing. You stayed where it was predictable, easy, warm. But Nietzsche's truth is this: become who you are, not who they expect, praise, or control. Become who you are. And to do that, you must strip away everything that isn't. False smiles, hollow small talk, the yeses to avoid conflict. Responsible careers, friends kept to dodge solitude. None of that fits in your real life. The moment you stop the performance, fear comes not from weakness but because your nervous system learned authenticity equals danger. Childhood taught you that being real brought trouble, loudness brought shame, difference brought labels, so you shrank. But Nietzsche didn't believe in shrinking. He believed in rising, even if it meant alone, especially alone. He believed life starts not in acceptance, but in the willingness to face rejection, to stay true. And here begins the work: detaching from imitation, shedding the false self, standing for the first time in your own name, not the one your parents wanted, your followers adore, or your partner tolerates. Nietzsche didn't want you good, nice, or accepted. He wanted you free. Real freedom starts the instant you stop being who you were told to be and start becoming who you are. This is when life starts, when you stop trying to be someone. Nietzsche's lesson wasn't about greatness, it was about being real at any cost. He saw the truth. We suffer not because life's unfair, but because we live lies we've convinced ourselves we must. We don't suffer from pain itself, but from pretending to love the life we built to impress. Pretending mediocrity satisfies, pretending we're fine while we fade. Nietzsche knew this pretending is slow suicide, the kind that smiles while wanting to scream, nods when the soul says no, wakes with a constant ache. This isn't me, but I don't know how to stop. And Nietzsche would tell you, become who you are, not in words, but in action. Risk unapologetic transformation. Imitation, no matter how praised, is still a cage. Look around: how many live uncurated, unposted, unbought lives? How many speak without rehearsing how they'll be seen, say what they mean without needing approval, live without a script? Very few. Becoming yourself isn't safe, marketable, or always comfortable, but it's freeing. Life begins when you choose liberation over validation, When you stop explaining and start existing. When you see being misunderstood as a fair price for truth. Harder still, most don't know they're imitating because the false self whispers, be nice, stay small, don't stand out, don't say that, what will they think, don't want more, be grateful. Slowly, you vanish into someone else's version of life. Nietzsche called this slave morality not of body, but of instinct to avoid discomfort, choose obedience over truth, moralize weakness, call safety virtue when it's fear in disguise. If you've lived that way submitting, softening for survival, he wouldn't condemn you. He'd challenge you, because you weren't built for safety but for sovereignty to rule your time. Own your desires, think freely, build your life, but imitation bribes you comfort, compliments, false belonging just enough to keep you quiet, seated at the table so long as you don't question the menu. It keeps you busy enough to forget you're unfree, but that's ending the pain, now outweighs the comfort. The emptiness is heavier than the praise, and something ancient in you stirs, remembering what real feels like. It's not always pretty or likable, but it's true. And once you choose truth over approval, you become dangerous, not violent, but untouchable. No one can control someone unafraid of rejection. No one can silence one who doesn't need to speak to feel valid. That's power, and Nietzsche knew it. He didn't write to soothe you, he wrote to wake you, provoke you, break your conditioning. He didn't want you to fit, he wanted you to transcend, to be that rare soul who says, I'm not here to perform, I'm here to become. And becoming isn't a morning routine, vision board, or aesthetic, it's grit, silence. Walking away from anything lifeless, even if it costs everything you thought you needed. This is the crossroad few face, keep the life you built, or burn it for the one that's yours. Most avoid the fire. Nietzsche would beg you to walk into it because on the far side is the life where you speak even when it shakes the room. Walk from what feels wrong even if it looks perfect. Stop seeking yourself in others' eyes and find it in your own. That's where the false self dies and the real one begins. It's not about becoming better, it's about becoming true. Perfection is a mask, politeness a shield, but truth is freedom earned through loss, solitude, and the silence. That feels like death until it becomes rebirth. Nietzsche said, the snake that cannot shed its skin must perish. You are here to shed, to find your voice, to break your own rules, to become so real the old you wouldn't recognize the new. This is the work leaving imitation, living not for applause but from the deepest core of your being. Life starts not when you feel ready, but when you see you were never meant to be. If you wait, you'll spend life preparing, waiting for permission. From a world that fears you awake, Nietzsche knew readiness is irrelevant, becoming costs everything. Life won't begin when it's safe, it begins when you abandon who the world told you to be and walk into the unknown. Truth has a cost, certainty. To be yourself, you must surrender the predictable life. The one with enough comfort to sedate you, that feels almost alive but never awake. Nietzsche would warn, the greatest danger isn't failure, poverty, or being misunderstood, it's staying asleep, acting out success while burying the self that was never meant to be caged. Fully yourself, you're a threat to systems, imitation, comfort culture, to those who depended on your silence. That's the cost of truth. Not everyone comes with you. Not everyone sees the new you. And that's fine, you're not here to be recognized, but undeniable. It looks like waking one day knowing your life isn't yours, deleting the plan, saying no to what once made you feel important, saying yes to what scares you because it's honest. It's walking from convenience, shallow ties, versions of yourself they preferred because they were easy. It's choosing solitude as a return, facing yourself in the dark, realizing you feared not the world but who you'd be without obeying it. The world gave you the script, degree, job, house, kindness, quiet, little questioning, but your soul too loud, too wild, too alive. Nietzsche called it your will to power, not to rule others, but to become yourself, wholly, without compromise. From that place, the false self dies, and everything changes. You stop craving approval, start craving depth, silence, space for your truth to breathe. You become dangerous not by shouting, but by ceasing to explain. You don't seek revenge, chase closure, or return to prove points. You stop tolerating anything unaligned. Life begins because now it's yours. Nietzsche said, no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Have you paid it? If not, life will keep pressing signs, restlessness, a sense your life is full but not yours. Eventually, you must choose, obey a world that doesn't care if you lose yourself, or risk everything to meet the self that's alive. That version isn't afraid to be disliked, doesn't explain silence, doesn't perform for comfort. Speaks when it matters, walks alone not from rejection, but because they don't need to be wanted. That version is who Nietzsche wrote for, the one who isn't chasing legacy, but is so fully themselves their existence is a revolution. Life starts when you stop confusing acceptance with belonging, performance with value, obedience with peace. It starts when you leave the room where everyone knows your name for the room where you know yourself. That moment may be quiet, uncelebrated, misunderstood it, but it's yours. And that's enough.